Hey ladies, it's Kate and Judy, and we are so excited today to be in day one of our Rock Your Visibility Challenge. And so this is all about busting through any of your visibility blocks and truly stepping into your feminine leadership. So we have been preparing for this. We are so excited to be with you live. And so what we wanted to share today is really about stepping into being a visible feminine leader. And so what we wanted to share with you is really, why is visibility so important and what does it really mean to us? So we're going to share that with you in just a minute.
Yeah. Maybe give a little guideline about what we're going to be doing here.
Yeah, and really, our intention with this challenge is to create a very safe and a very sacred space for us as women to come together, to really rise together and to look at these blocks and some of these fears that we may or may not have, and to really rise together because.
Yeah, well, there really aren't that many places where we can come together and actually have these kinds of conversations. And so this is really what we want to do, is we want to invite you to really show up here and engage with us and engage with the other women that participate. And what we're really going to be addressing over these next 5 days, really it's twofold. Basically the inner component to what visibility is really all about, or not about, in that sense that what is holding us back from really stepping into who we really are, and then really, what are the outer components? What are the structures, the actions that we then take when we begin to have that self-confidence, when we begin to step into our leadership and own our value and our worth and our message? What are those actions that we end up taking to support who we are becoming and the message that we have to share in the world?
Yeah.
And that's what we really want to, we're going to cover over these 5 days as best as we can. So we want you gals to just get in there and be with us and be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because vulnerability is a piece to visibility.
There we go. Yeah. And so what we're going to be doing each day is we're going to dive right into the content. And so we'll probably share for about, I don't know, I would say like 10 or 15 minutes. And then we'll open it up to Q&A. And so if you have questions, please write them down, save them for us. We really want to get to those. It's so much juicier when we're able to really have this open it up for more conversation. And also, if you haven't signed up for the challenge itself, you should see it right there in the link in the description of this video. And the reason you want to sign up for that is that we have a separate membership site for you, and all of the videos are going to be recorded and placed in the membership area. And oh, hi Miriam, nice to have you. So as you are popping in, we're going live on a couple different devices here. So as you're popping in here, make sure to say hi and leave a comment for us. And so our intention behind this, as I was sharing, is really that this be a really alive, engaged group of women who are all really committed to transforming their visibility and really stepping into a deeper component of their business. Hi. And so what we're going to be doing is having you leave your comments here, really engage, do whatever you can to show up live for this broadcast, so that we really can have that conversation and that engagement with you.
And we have something special for you.
Yeah.
Right?
So we have, at the end of the 5-day challenge, we have a very special giveaway. And so basically we're going to be doing a drawing, and we're going to give away a 90-minute intensive with both of us. So this is something that when we sell it, which isn't actually even very often.
We don't necessarily do a one-off like this.
But it's worth $1,500 with us. And it's totally personalized, totally customized to you, so you can.
It's a Skype live, one-on-one, we're looking at your eyes and you's looking at ours. Yeah.
And so we can really talk about whatever component is going on for you, whether it's around your personal money story, around visibility, around your ideal client, around your messaging, something more personal, something more business. We're really available for whatever
Wealth
is right for you.
consciousness, your
Yeah.
money story, any of that we can really support you.
Yeah.
So that you can actually become more visible.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing here.
So the way that you qualify for this giveaway is we are, for each day that we do the challenge, we really want to see that you are engaging and that you are showing up and being visible. This is really one of the ways that we can support each one of you to show up and be even more visible, and also to do it in a place that's really safe and
Because
and
we
very
start
sacred.
with baby steps.
Yeah.
You know, and some of you may be like, really comfortable showing up in a group like this. Some of you may be less comfortable. So this is an opportunity to actually and show up in a way with your voice.
Yeah.
Like, what are you up to in the world? What do you believe? What is your mission? What is your passion? That's a way to show up in this group.
Yeah.
And be visible.
So the way that you qualify for this $1,500, it would be a free Skype intensive, a 90-minute Skype intensive with us, is number one, we want to see that you are really engaged in the group. So that means that you're commenting, you're showing up and being visible. We're going to be giving you some homework, some things to do to be more visible for yourself and in your life and in your business. So we really want to see that you're engaging in that. So for each day that you show up to the challenge, and we also get that many of you want to be on live and you can't, you're in another country, or you have, your family, or, your job, something like that.
Or coaching calls.
Yep. So if that's we'll also accept any of the comments that are on the replay. But we want you to show up in the comments and really show that you are engaged, that you are being visible yourself in this group. So for each day that you show up and are really visible, we will give you one entry into this drawing. So theoretically, you can have 5 entries just by showing up every single day and leaving a comment and really showing that you're engaged.
Yeah.
The second way is to tag a friend and invite them to this challenge. So if you add them to the Luxuriant Woman Entrepreneur group and tag them in the post, we will give you another entry into this giveaway.
So that could be 2 in one day.
Exactly. It could be many, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically,
Exactly.
the idea
Yeah.
is that you can really increase your chances of getting this Skype, this 90-minute Skype intensive with us.
Yeah. And then we have another way. Well,
Let's see here. We have some notes here.
Yeah.
So, so just make sure to leave a comment and invite some people, and really make sure that they would be very served with this message and with what this challenge is all about.
Absolutely.
And so the other thing here too is we really want you to share. Oh, hi, Kara.
Hey, Kara.
Nice to have you here. So we really want you to share this with your friends, and we are going to be setting up an accountability buddy kind of system. So whether that is a friend that you know that would love this and you add to the group, or here, if you want an accountability buddy and you don't have one, you can leave a comment in the thread and you can hook up with some other sisters on the path.
Absolutely. So
And, we really want this challenge to be something that gets you results.
and it gets you showing up here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just from a free challenge. And so that's one of the best ways that you can do that,
Yes.
is just to really show up and be visible and be present. And we will be reading all the comments, we'll be taking notice, and really want to support you.
And we're going to do the drawing on Saturday morning.
Yep.
So we're going to go through the 5 days and then
Yep.
and then we'll do the drawing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, question is, so why is visibility so important to us? Why is visibility important to you? How is showing up really important to you and to the results that you desire for your business? Because we know that you're here for a reason. We know that you have a great message to share with the world. We know that you're passionate about this. You would not be here if you weren't. And so, what we believe, the two of us, in our philosophy is that we as women, like, this is really our time. This is our time to really stand up and step out and become visible in the world, to shine our light. And we've heard much about that, but this is like, deep within each of us, we have a mission and a passion to support others to be bigger. And that we know where we all have been perhaps smaller than we desire, where we really just want to bring our message to the world, and where we've held back.
Yeah.
So this is really about us as women, not in a defiant way, not in a rebellious way to step up and stand out and be heard and be visible, heard and seen, but in really in alignment with who we are as women leaders. Women leaders. What is that?
And really, our belief is that what this world needs right now more than ever are really amazing, conscious women who are building their own business, stepping into themselves, really using their voice, and also growing their wealth. Because the more that we are able to be conscious and to grow our wealth and contribute to the world, the better the world is going to become. And so this really is our time. The Dalai Lama has been quoted to say that he believes that the Western woman is going to save the world. And what I will say is it's the Western woman who is unapologetic about standing up and being visible.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we've really noticed, and that, I will say I feel within myself, is that I think culturally, and even as an American woman who, we've been pretty much championed to, to have the American dream and to step up and to, we can do whatever we want, rah, rah. There's still a component of women not being valued and not really being seen and not having a voice. That traditionally, there has been that oppression. And so it's not really in our DNA in the same way that it is for the men to step up and be really visible unapologetically.
Most little girls, were not born into that same sort of championship of, you can take the bull by the horns.
Yeah.
Many of us watched our mothers, and especially really in my generation, my grandmother, my mother, watched them, their role, and I'm not going to say no less was their role, but their role was really the homemaker and the nurturer. And then generations began to grow, and I became a teenager, and I became a young woman in the early 70s. And we were, in the 60s and the 70s, we were burning bras, it's like, revolution, women, let's get out there and really be seen. And then, but we kind of did it in a competitive way with the men, and felt like to enter corporate world or to enter, to be seen and to be heard, we had to compete with the men.
Yeah.
And what we're really talking about is just really being fully women and bringing our nurturing selves to the table, to bring our brilliance and our ability to discern, and our ability to be leaders in a way that perhaps that we were not taught to do, because we didn't have those role models. Except today, they're beginning to blossom.
Yeah. And we really feel like this movement of women that you are part of, that each one of us are contributing to, that this is bringing all of us further. Yeah. So I'd love to just really hear from you. What messages did you hear growing up about what it was to be visible as a woman, or to speak up and use your voice? If this is resonating with you, I'd love to hear you comment yes, or just comment something below.
Thumbs up.
One of the things that I've heard so often is really amazing, smart, very educated women in our tribe saying that they feel like they are an imposter, that they are a fraud. And so many women, there's this almost like disease of like needing to go out and get as many trainings and certificates and degrees as possible in order to feel like we are good enough.
To be valued.
And so I've heard this from like Sheryl Sandberg and like Kate Winslet as an actress. She was always saying that she felt like an imposter, that she like reached this certain status, and she, like, who am I to be here? Like, they're gonna find out that I don't really know what I'm doing. Sonia Sotomayor, like all these incredible women who are so talented. And the thing is that men traditionally have not had those same feelings. That's something that Sheryl Sandberg really talks about, is that what she noticed when she was
Because she's in the corporate world.
yeah, well, when she was
Rubbing
getting
elbows
when
with
she was
men.
getting her degree,
Yeah.
you know, she had a best friend who had a brother, and all three of them were in a class together. And she and her friend, these two women, were studying their asses off, and
As we women do,
and
right?
they went to every single class, and they were taking notes, and spending hours and hours and hours studying for the midterms and for the final exam. And once they got out of the class, out of the exam, the two of them are like, oh, I don't know if I really tweezed out this one theory enough in the essay section. And then they ask like the brother, John, like, hey, John, how did you do? And he was like, nailed it. And he had been to like a few of the classes and hardly studied. And there was just this thing of like, us always needing to achieve more. And this is something that actually can really cause us to stay more invisible to ourselves and to the world than we need to be.
Well, and Kate, you were talking about in terms of our cellular DNA, and I really think there's truth to that. I mean, when you think about it, I don't know when it was. You did a report about this in high school. What was in the 1500s with the witch hunts? At times in our history. And I'm going to say, sadly, still in some areas of the world, it's not safe to be a woman.
It's not safe to speak up. If you look at someone like Malala Yousafzai, she spoke up against the Taliban, and they broke into her school bus and shot her in the head.
Shot her in the head, and so that wasn't what was, I don't know, 5 years ago or whatever it was, in another area of the world. This happens, the whole human trafficking, how young women are kidnapped, abducted, and if they don't do what they're supposed to do, they get acid thrown in their face. I was talking with one of my clients just last week who was sharing with me that she has a good friend who actually works in that arena in terms of creating masks for these women. I mean, it's it's just, and it's just so like, if we can, we should. Like, if we're able to speak up and do what we can to change this conversation in the world, again, not defiantly, but in a way that really helps to support other women, then we should. Yeah. I really believe that. It's not what I like to. It's my responsibility.
Yeah. And so much, the beautiful thing about this, and the beautiful thing about the women of our tribe, is that as entrepreneurs, we ourselves are, excuse me, we got a little notification coming up here. Women of our tribe, we are really following our own desires. And so for you, whatever kind of business you're starting, most of the women who are in our tribe here, you are coaches. It's really about healing the parts of ourselves and helping our clients to heal the parts of themselves that are not whole, to really shine out in their full expression, whether it's their health or their relationships, their life itself, their business. Kara, it's our responsibility.
It is.
And so for women of our tribe, what we really have found is this interesting phenomenon of really smart, educated, talented women who have been very successful in all of these different areas of their life in the past. And so like maybe they've been in corporate. And so they have this desire, this fire to make an impact in the world and really step up and grow their own wealth and grow themselves. And they're so interested in personal development. And so they step into the world of coaching and having their own business. And they go into absolute paralyzation and
shut down.
And they don't know what it is. Sometimes it's like, oh, I know what to be doing, I'm just not doing it. Or they find themselves procrastinating and frustrated and spinning. I have so many ideas, I don't know how to get any of them from the clouds down to earth. And what we've really found is that this is a symptom of a deep lack of self-worth, and that confidence. Suddenly they themselves are their own personal brand. They can't hide behind a corporate persona, where we've had amazing clients who they've traveled the world as public speakers speaking for a corporation, and then they step into their own business and they
cannot even Facebook Live.
They can't even get on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
And they're like, something's wrong with me. And what we really want to take a stand for is that nothing is wrong with you, but some parts of you probably need to be healed. That these are actually coming up in order for you to be healed. So in our journey of visibility, we're going to talk about this a little bit more tomorrow, kind of our personal
Our own stories.
stories,
Yeah.
what we've really found is that it's a journey. And, so if there are these pieces of, I'm not good enough, who's going to listen to me? Do I have what it takes? Feeling like a fraud or feeling like an imposter, terrified of outside judgment. What are they going to think about me? That's the place to start. So what we're going to be doing over this challenge is we're starting with the inner stuff. And one thing that we will really acknowledge is that we know that for most women in our tribe, it's like,
I just want the clients.
I just want to make the money and have the client. I just want the booming business.
Right.
I don't really want to look at
I don't want to do that stuff.
where in my childhood was I not
Yes.
recognized or
Yes.
not seen or not allowed to be visible. But what we've really found is that unless we address the inner stuff first, all of the outer stuff is going to fall flat.
Yeah, because
So-
it started with that inner stuff as the little girl.
Yeah.
Things that we were taught, and unless we become aware of those beliefs, they will continue to hold us back and keep us stuck. Because then we respond from those beliefs in holy terror of making ourselves visible in the world. And so, that's the part, that's the inner stuff. And then we're going to move to the outer arenas in terms of taking action and what that's going to look like for you to be visible.
Yeah.
And,
so comment below. Tell
yeah.
us, if this whole thing of like,
Is this
I'm
making
not
sense
good
to you?
enough,
Yeah.
Who's going to listen to me? Have you experienced any of these? We'd love to hear.
And been successful in other endeavors.
Yeah.
And then when you started your business, it was like a whole new ball of wax that you were like, oh gosh, I am bringing out my own personal voice as my brand, as me. And I'm terrified of being criticized. And maybe you're not even aware of it so much, like I'm terrified of being criticized, but the results are you're not taking the actions that you know that you could/should be taking.
Yeah.
So that's an indication when we feel stuck in that, in those areas, and so often, what we really think about visibility is how are we showing up behind the camera, or are we standing up on stage? What's our website like, and what are the fancy pictures on the website? Do we have the photos that we would love to have, and we think it's the outer stuff, and it is, and it's also the inner stuff first. Yeah.
So, it is important how we feel on video. Are we feeling confident? It is important that we
Absolutely.
have, our brand down, that we have our ideal client nailed, that we have our messaging down, and that we are building things on the outside that will support our visibility. And that's something that we're going to be getting into a little bit more, probably like day 3, 4, and 5. We're going to be talking about that. But what we really wanted to dive into today is more about, again, the inner part of the feeling like I'm not good enough, or worrying about what other people are going to think, because this is something that we hear so often from, again, so many smart women in this industry, of what's blocking them from really stepping up and getting themselves out there and more visible. And there is, we're kind of joking about this, there's the spectrum of visibility. It is a process, and we do start wherever we're at. And for us, there's always still the next level of the onion, and still unpeeling this visibility.
Which is the good part, because that means that we're growing. Otherwise,
exactly.
We'd be stale bread that's in the cupboard. No, we're still growing,
So, how confident do you feel pressing Facebook Live, and how great do you feel with how nailed do you feel like your ideal client is? How confident are you in your message? We kind of see two ends of the spectrum. Number one, if you have those really beautiful glossy photos that are in front of the Eiffel Tower, a lot of women are like, oh God, like I'm almost embarrassed to put those out there. People are going to be thinking like, who does she think she is? And she's just this big shot. Or the other side of the spectrum is the women who don't have the glossy photos. And they're like, well, my husband took photos of me at the farmer's market or at the local coffee shop
With
or
the
in our
iPhone.
living room and on the iPhone. And that's
Yeah.
all that I have. And so there's like the website shame in that sense. So it's, again, it's like the pendulum swings from one side to the other.
And it's this whole comparison despair. And then we go into shutdown and feel that sense of I'm not good enough, you know? So just notice that about yourself, because, you know, what this is like really, how do you feel? Like, what is your indication about, or I guess I could put it this way.
Yeah.
How do you receive validation? You know, does this come from inside, or do you feel good about yourself because of what someone else has, you know, said or didn't say?
And that's a tough one, because most of us have been taught that like we do something and we get a gold star for doing it. Like you get an
Absolutely.
A on your test, or you load up the dishwasher as a kid, or you do whatever it is that you do and you get like a gold star. And so you can feel good about yourself because someone on the outside has said, awesome job, Judy.
Well, exactly. So we were trained that way. So we were trained to please our parents, and then we would get you know, that pat on the back. And I mean, and there's nothing obviously wrong about, you know, pleasing other people and doing things for other people, and also our parents teaching us to contribute into society, correct? But what this ends up being is if we have this dependency on whether we feel that we are of value, and this can happen early on. If we are of value, if we get recognized only for things that we do, or value is taken away from us by things that we do that people are not happy about, then we then become dependent on other people's opinion of ours
And their approval of us.
and their approval of us. And my guess is that there's not one of us on this planet that's going to escape that, because we all had a mother and a father, maybe a couple of grandparents. We had teachers from, you know, kindergarten on. It's the world, and yet some have more challenging situations than others. And so if we're dependent on what other people think in order to step up and come to Facebook Live, or to send out our mailers, or to, you know, show up as a coach that we know that you want to be, and you are, that's called codependency, you know. And it's a form of codependency, being dependent on someone else's opinion of ours.
Someone else's opinion, someone else's approval. And what, you know, this has been an interesting journey for me. And I think that you relate to this as well, that if someone had, like 2 years ago, let's say, if someone had told me, Kate, you are a codependent, and now like you are a recovering codependent, I would have been like, no, I'm not. What do you mean? I'm totally cool with myself.
Yeah.
But what I have learned about myself is actually that I have tendencies towards a codependency in the way that probably most of us as women do. And it's definitely been a journey for me. I'd love to hear from some of you ladies,
Yes.
if you relate to this, of like, yeah, to a degree, I am kind of dependent on like how I feel. When I'm validated by other people, it makes me feel better. You know, when someone approves
Absolutely.
of, like says, wow, that coaching call was awesome. You are an amazing coach.
It changed my life. I mean,
yeah. I mean, again, part of it's us being human, but part of it, if we're hooked into it in any kind of like an addiction way of like, we can't feel good, or we can't feel safe, or we can't feel secure or happy unless that's happening, then it's taking it too far.
and it can be on the other side of the coin there, because if we're also dependent on someone's good opinion of ours, then when we do get the criticism, then it's like we go into like the sense of like total shame and shutdown, and we perseverate over that one criticism, whereas, you know, 99% of our clients may be, you know, just so grateful and you know, moved by how we show up, and there's one person that is complaining.
or the one person that writes a negative comment on your blog, or like if you see on YouTube, you know, let's say you put a video up and you get like 20 thumbs up and then like the one thumbs down, you're like, what could they possibly be like upset about whenever they're making a negative comment? It's not even someone that we know, but you know, that's definitely put me into like, oh my God, is there something wrong with me or something wrong with what I did? And
well, so we go to that automatically because that's how we've been patterned.
Yeah.
And so really, so what's your criteria for feeling good and safe and happy? You know, and we'd love to hear any comments. If you want to, you know, this might be something you might want to journal about at home. How do you feel safe, valued?
And there's something really interesting, and this has been part of our journey as well, is to really look at the rules that we have around a lot of different things in life. But let's say, you know, in this particular instance, around what are your rules for feeling safe, for feeling happy, for feeling secure? A lot of what we've heard when women have really dug deep into this is that one of their rules for feeling secure is that everybody else is happy, everybody else is okay.
Yeah.
And when they're like, when that comes to light, they're like, that makes absolute no sense. Like, I know that I can't please the world, that not everybody can be okay around me. And yet oftentimes these, the rules that we will unearth in ourselves sound very childlike, because they are, because that's where they were created. They were created in childhood in order for us to feel secure, to feel safe, to feel happy.
Yeah.
And they were patterned into us. Like, if, you know, if you didn't feel that way, then, you know, love was taken away from you, or security was taken away from you, validation was taken away from you.
Well, you know, we also hear, you know, many of our clients have shared with us about the responsibilities that they had growing up as children with, let's say, a large family. And their mother had to go out and go work. And so, you know, they came home from school, they, you know, she was the oldest in the family, and she had some, you know, younger siblings, and so we're counting on you, you know, and so she had to take her siblings under her arm, and
She was the one that, you know, grabbed them by the hand and took them on the school bus.
And had the key to the house, and, you know, got everybody off the school bus and opened the house and quickly
locked the door behind, and called mom to say, yep, we're home safe.
Home, and fix, you know, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for her siblings, because that's what she was expected to do, and probably expected to do other things as well. And if they didn't get done, then the message was, you know, you're not good enough. Like, we're disappointed in you.
Yeah.
And so we learn to do things for other people, not in like necessarily kindness way, but in an expectation and in a way for us to be affirmed that we are worthy.
Yeah.
So those are all just, you know, really, and so you take that, you know, that kind of a stance, and you think about, here we are as adult women, and we're, you know, stepping up, building our businesses. And
we're changing our money story. We are serving clients. We're building these businesses. We have these dreams of having, you know, a multi-million. Oop, it looks like we're trying to reconnect on one of the devices.
Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
So, you know, we have these dreams of becoming like a multi-million-dollar business owner, or even, let's say, like, you know, just reaching six figures. Like, you know, that's the goal. And we start taking action in our business, and the weight of what are other people going to think honestly can stop women in their tracks. You know, we've even talked about this in terms of like, there is something about another piece, another component that can be tied into this, is also around like, are you too much?
totally.
That so many women, like, you know, do you just imagine like these incredible little girls that have like, you know, the princess wand and the fairy wings and a little crown on their head, and they have like big dreams.
And that little tutu, you know, on, and they're spinning in the living room, and they're, you know.
And they have these big dreams, and it's like told, you know, you're too much. Like, you know, don't do that in front of other people. Don't dream so big. Don't be so big.
Well, a lot of it is don't expect too big, because you may be disappointed. I mean, I remember that. I remember that as a little girl for sure, that And it, you know, and so it was our parents that actually really just were trying to protect us from getting hurt. They did not realize that they were stomping on our dreams, but they had not received everything that they desired in their lives, and they wanted to protect us so that we didn't keep our hopes up. I mean, I remember, Judy, don't get your hopes up, you know, and it's like, really?
And so what happens is that, you know, again, we become these adult women and we have these big dreams and we're really going for it. And we're fighting against, underneath the surface, we're fighting against a belief system that is counter to what we are trying to accomplish. And we can say, well, logically, you know, I know that there's more than enough money out there. I know that it's safe for me to press Facebook Live. Like, it's not that big of a deal to write a sales page and have it go live. Like, there really shouldn't be like this big drama, but we feel it in us. And so what happens is that we are fighting the belief system, but we're trying to apply an adult logic to it, whereas that's not where we can really transform it from. So we're going to be going into this more tomorrow. So we're going to really be going into specifically what your visibility story is. And again, what we found is that this is very much tied to the money story, to you know, the clients that we are available to work with, or the clients that we do call in to work with, to really every aspect of our business and our lives. Our visibility is really tied to that. So we're going to be getting into that a lot more tomorrow, your specific visibility story. But what would be really in service to you today is to dive into the rules. And even if they sound ridiculous, even if they sound like childlike, to really dive into, like, so what were my rules of feeling safe, secure, and happy?
What was required in my life to feel safe and secure and happy?
Yeah. And, you know, what was maybe the story that you heard growing up? It's like, you know, seeing like celebrities or really wealthy people, like, oh, money's for them, or like, you know, like the limelight is for other people and not for people like us.
Yes, like us.
Like us,
Like we're in some separate category.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and one of the final sort of teaching that we will propose today is an amazing concept from Byron Katie.
I love this. And this is really around the piece of codependency. And even though you may not think that, as Kate was saying, sharing, that
I'm not a codependent.
I'm not a codependent.
No.
You know, because there's a little bit of, but
like,
it's
negative stigma around it. Like, no, I'm totally healthy.
Yeah. Well, I think what it is there's just a misunderstanding about what that is really.
Yeah.
And what she says is that there are three types of business. There's my business, your business, and God's business.
God's business.
Yeah. And if you are in someone else's business, then you need to stay in your own business. And being in someone else's business is being concerned about their opinion of you.
If they have a criticism or an opinion of you, and then it's time for, and you're really concerned about that, it's time to get back in your business, because that is actually not your business. Yeah. That is their business and God's business. Yeah.
And I remember a book that I read several years ago, Terry Cole Whitaker, and it was kind of a new concept back then. It was what you think of me is none of my business, and I thought, what?
Yeah.
And it's true.
Yeah.
And so these are just things for you to consider for yourself.
And so again, for us as women, you know, stepping into our power, our leadership, into our voice, into our visibility, we cannot step into that in the fullest expression of itself and still have hooks into, oh my gosh, what are they going to think about me? What if I can't do it? You know, I'm too much. I'm not enough. They're judging me. Like, all of that doesn't get to come with you.
No.
So the stance that we really take, and this is where I would say more of our spiritual side and our spiritual component comes into this, is that if any of these pieces are coming up for you around being overly concerned about what other people are thinking, or just finding yourself, stuck in that spin cycle, just to really recognize that all of this is coming up for you in order to be repatterned, because the universe it's always self-correcting and self-organizing. It really wants you to bring into full expression what you want, even more than you do.
Yeah.
There's this
That's
beautiful,
what you were sent here to do.
There's a beautiful quote in the Apocrypha, and it says that your desires are the echo of life's desires for you. So what you want, what you are seeking, is seeking you and wanting you even more, if you can imagine that, than you want.
Yeah.
And
we want that for you too.
And so we can only be of service when we have done our own internal work and really explored these rules and really worked through them, and really healed the parts of us that need to be healed. And as you can imagine, what we see oftentimes is that the unhealed parts of us, they come up more for whatever reason when we start a business and when we're working with clients and when it's our own kind of face to the world, than if you're just working behind a desk or working for another job.
Well,
or
you're following
corporation.
somebody else's rules, and you don't have to be responsible for, for really coming forth as your unique self in the same way as when you are a coach, with your own message, your own, clients and all of that. Yeah, definitely. So that's when, when we really get to face this sort of stuff. And as Kate was saying, that's really the good news, that when it starts to come up for us, not everything gets to go with us. As being that woman who is building a 6 to 7 figure coaching business as an entrepreneur, all this self-doubt, all the smallness, all the, who do I think I am?
Am I good enough?
Am I good enough?
Can I really do it? What are they thinking?
That just literally, it doesn't equate. 1 and 1 doesn't equal 2 there. You can't be that woman and bring that with you. And so that's what we're going to really invite you to look at over these next few days with us, and to repattern. So just know that we've got some repatterning coming in a few days, and tomorrow, what we're going to do here is really look at so what's your visibility story? What are your limiting beliefs? What is your money story? That kind of thing.
And so, tomorrow is officially, it's what's your visibility story, and identifying your core visibility blocks and limiting beliefs so that you can reverse them.
Yeah.
So that's really what tomorrow is all about. And so we'll open it up to Q&A here in just a moment, but just also for the people on the replay, so that you can just get the homework right away.
Yeah.
So number 1 is to get an accountability partner. One of the best ways that we have reversed. Oh, awesome, Kara.
Excited to repattern. I got it.
One of the best ways that we have really practiced the muscles of visibility is to join other amazing women who are really committed to their greatest level of expression, their greatest level of business building, their greatest level of health.
Who are also being vulnerable.
Yep.
Let's all be vulnerable together.
And who are repatterning their visibility. So we really want you to grab a visibility partner. And so make sure to get yourself into our Facebook group, which is the Luxuriant Woman Entrepreneur, because that's really where the juice of this is going to be. And we may or may not be having you do a live video in there later.
Oops. So trouble. No one's going to show up anymore.
I know, right? Like crickets. But so, one of the best ways that we've really repatterned so much around the visibility is like banding together in community of other amazing women who are transforming their visibility as well.
Yeah.
So get an accountability partner, and you might even want to just hop on the phone with them for like 15 minutes and talk about your rules. Like what was the totally arbitrary, totally insane sounding rule book that you created as a kid for feeling secure, happy, safe, protected, enough? What is that? What are the rules that you created?
And what happened when you did show up, when you did speak out at the dinner table with all of your siblings? Were you shamed? Were you squashed? Were you told to quiet down, you're too much, when you're doing that cute little pirouette with your tutu in the middle of the living room? I don't know what your story is, but I know you got one.
Yeah.
Because we all do.
So grab an accountability partner, explore your rules together.
Yes.
And tag a friend in the Luxuriant Woman Entrepreneur Facebook group who you know would absolutely love this content and that would really be served from this. And it will also give you another entry into our drawing for the 90-minute Skype intensive with both of us. And the third thing.
Oh, I know. Okay,
So this one we didn't talk about yet, but there's also something that we see that happens for women when they are still stuck a bit in invisibility, and that is a lot of distraction. That it's easy to get distracted and off track on things that actually make you feel and think that you are working on your business.
Yep. And what might those be? So take a look at your inbox tonight and notice all the different email lists that you are on.
That you've subscribed
that
to.
That you have subscribed to. And it could be other coaches, other personal developments. It could be, the cooking channel. I don't know what it is for you, but it's a distraction. And there's some good things to stay connected to, absolutely. But really ask yourself if this is really serving you, because I don't know about your news feed, but there's a lot coming on down the pike here.
Oh my gosh.
And, just Facebook alone, you can get, as you know, can get sent down, down the rabbit hole.
A comparison, despair,
Yeah.
trauma, just by opening the app on your phone.
No, exactly. Well, that and the distraction of all of a sudden it's an hour and a half later and you're still on friggin', news feeds. I mean, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So go through and unsubscribe from 10 lists.
Really give yourself some white space and some fresh air to hear your own thoughts and be with your own self around this.
Trust yourself.
Yeah.
Because this is your time to really go inside, and it's your time to really show up in the outside.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So let's open it up to some Q&A right now.
Okay.
If you have a question or a comment, we'd love to hear it. And I don't know if this is the case. I'm not seeing any comments come through on the Luxuriant Woman Entrepreneur in the Facebook group, and I'm thinking that I might not have something properly formatted in the settings. So hopefully,
maybe
it's possible that we're seeing things. Or that we're not seeing things. Let's see. Swipe left to reveal comments.
Whoa.
Okay, having technical issues here. Hold on. Okay. Well, there might not be comments, but anyway, go ahead and. Oh, that's a good challenge to unsubscribe. I love it, Kira.
Yes,
I know.
yes.
We did that. I mean, I'm actually still trying to do it. Some of them are hard to unsubscribe to. I don't know why they won't let you go.
They won't let you go. I know. You have to keep on trying.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
So in the Luxuriant Woman Entrepreneur, can you type in, there are a couple of viewers in there right now, can you type in a comment just to say hi, to see if we can see these?
Because we're not seeing your comments and we don't want to be ignoring you.
Yeah.
And it might just have been, it'll show up on the replay.
Yeah.
So
We'll hop in there later and we'll make
Yeah.
sure to respond to your comments. Make sure to come tomorrow.
Yep.
And we can address all of those live. We are so excited about this. And, again, what we were saying earlier on was this whole piece around, we know that what you really want is you want to have awesome, incredible clients come into your business. You want to make money. You want to live an awesome lifestyle in whatever way that looks to you. And that sometimes addressing the inner stuff is not top priority. It's not feeling all that fun.
or necessarily maybe in service of your business.
Yeah. But what we will say is that if you will really give yourself the gift of looking at this, being with yourself, journaling, looking at the different things that we're sharing, all of these steps are integral to what has allowed us to transform this for ourselves and to continue to transform it.
Yeah. And we promise we're not going to pitch a tent
Yeah.
with the stuff,
Yeah.
because there's also another piece of hiding behind all the personal development and just getting so buried in it that we don't take the action. So that's why you're going to get a combination of the inner and the outer, because the outer is going to be going to begin to demonstrate to you that you can take safe steps and continue to take those steps in service of getting those clients. And that's the whole point too.
Yeah.
So.
All right, lovely
Okay.
ladies. Well, make sure to grab your accountability partner, leave a comment below, make sure to really engage. Again, we are so excited to offer this free 90-minute Skype intensive with one of you. So in order to qualify for that, make sure that you're really engaged in this and that
You've got to be visible.
Yeah. And tag a friend in here that you know would love this. And so tomorrow we will be back. Oops. We're having more tech issue. Tomorrow we'll be back with day 2, and this is really about addressing your visibility story so that you can look at any limiting beliefs, any blocks, and really repattern them to step confidently and powerfully into your business. And then that's where all the juicy stuff comes. Oh yeah, Phyllis is texting us on Judy's phone. You're
Okay.
right, you're not seeing any comments on Facebook Live. All right, well,
Okay.
hopefully you're commenting, and
Yes.
we'll see those later. Thanks so much,
Okay.
Phyllis, for letting us know.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right, lovelies, we'll talk to you again, same place and time.
See you tomorrow,
Okay.
Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye-bye.